Last month in May, we were exploring the idea that every living soul, the inside, every living soul, there is a call to commune with, to be in conscious union with a power greater than ourselves, which we call God. And each week, last month, we responded to that call as we moved into the mystic. It was all about our natural selves being the mystic. And we explored and experienced a deepening, hopefully, of a relationship with the divine. Now this month, we're going to build upon everything that we talked about last month in order to fully and completely ignite the divine flame within us. To do that, we will keep it simple. We will fully participate in the awesome life of God, realizing that our outer life is a reflection of our inner life. And the power that comes when we absolutely align ourselves with our awareness of this power that is so much greater than ourselves. Our intention is to ignite that spark, that God spark, that flame within us that we all have. We all have it. And so let me begin the topic this morning by telling you something of which I am aware. I am aware that everyone who walked through those doors this morning and who will walk through those doors this month, they are going to be somewhere on this continuum of life. And they're feeling great, they're feeling alive, things are meshing, going together. Everything's just coming out roses, as they say. Everything is moving beautifully for them. So they're in a great place and we celebrate that. I also know that a few who come and walk through those doors are on the other end of that spectrum. In a great deal of pain, possibly, sadness, fear, over personal illnesses, loss, relationships, finances, over global issues. It may have even been difficult for them to get up and to just attend today, just to walk through those doors. And for those people, we honor the courage for you being here. And there are others, I think lots of times, we're all in all of these things, that are somewhere in between these two extreme ends of the spectrum that we call life. I know this is true this morning, and it is true every Sunday. Wherever you are on that continuum, we are going to kiss and make it better. We'll explain that. Because no matter where you are on that spectrum, no matter which end you are leaning toward or hanging from or off of, the life experience always gets better. It always gets better. That's the faith that we can either have or not have. Meaning that it can be expressed more fully as we come more into alignment with this infinite power of good. This great power of God. But we have here today that we are going to talk about the KISS principle, which stands for Keep It Simple, Sweetheart. That's a good one too, but it's not that. Or keep it so spiritual. I like that. Keep it so spiritual. K-I-S-S. The term keep it simple, sweetheart could apply to many things in so many different ways. But this morning I wanted to apply to our spiritual understanding. Keep it simple. This is what I try to do, and I think pretty much do in my life.
I will do. I caught that too.
It's the podium, trust me.
Watch the
Throwing me. Keep it simple. We make everything so difficult. Just simple, simple. Things do not have to be as complicated as we humans seem to make these things. And I want to boil down our understanding to two simple ideas. The reading was perfect today. Two simple ideas. That if we work with them, and if we embrace them, if we are in harmony with them, whatever, wherever we are on that continuum of life, we will definitely ignite the divine flame that is within each and every one of us. Two simple ideas. In fact, Ernest Holmes, in Science of Mind, his textbook, he wrote this: it's all so simple that it seems unbelievable. It's very true. And here are the two simple ideas, also in the words of Ernest Holmes from his book. As we come to understand that all is love, yet all is law, love rules through law. Love is the divine givingness. Law is the way. Love is spontaneous. Law is impersonal. Love points the way, and law makes it possible. Our two simple ideas are love and law. It's everything. It's the whole entire creative process. We spend years studying this spirituality, and it's all based on love and law. So we are going to keep it simple by looking at these two fundamental elements of spiritual understanding known as religious science, New Thought, based on ancient wisdom. These truths have been around forever. We did not invent them. Ernest Holmes did not invent them. They're the truth of the ages. Spiritual truth is spiritual truth. Jesus knew this, and he taught these two very simply. And Buddha understood this and taught these two spiritual fundamental elements of spiritual understanding. So today let's gain some clarity around our two key words, love and law. First, love. What is love really? I was asking that question for many years. So we are told in the Gospels that God is love and love is God. Yet when we talk about love, we have a really strong tendency to put our our human qualities on top of it. We mix it all up. And for many people, love has not always been pleasant. It's not always been so easy. There was a popular song a long time ago that said, "Love hurts." For many people, love means betrayal, pain, abandonment, conditions, even abuse in the name of God. So when we talk about God being love, we get our own human experience all tangled up in that. And we really can't understand this. There is a much bigger, more powerful version of this idea of love. And we want to separate what we think love is because we really, really don't fully grasp it. So can we just for a moment, right now, release that idea of whatever we have of love and look at some thoughts about God's love, divine love. Charles Fillmore tells us in his Talks on Truth, the love of God for his children is beyond description. A love so tender and so deep that it cannot be mentioned in the same breath with ordinary love. as known by the world. The great love of being is deeper and wider than the thoughts and words that man has compassed since the beginning of language. It can be known only on its own plane. And man must awaken within himself the capacity to feel a mighty love before he can comprehend how great God's love is. That's Charles Fillmore. So how do we awaken this within ourselves? This capacity to feel a love that is so mighty. Despite these beautiful words of Charles Fillmore, I realize that it can be difficult to get a sense of love so giving, so vast, so pure, when we are not in our human experience, humanness experience of it. But we're going to do the best we can. We're going to do the best we can right here this day. And if you have children or been around children, if you have pets, and just really have this love for your pets, get a sense of the purest moment of love that you have felt for a child or for a precious kitten or a puppy. What are your emotions around that? We want to protect, provide for, make secure, give to, hold, cuddle, adore, shower blessings upon it. So get the highest and deepest feeling you can of love right now. And then see if you can double it. And then double it again, and again, and again. It just goes on and on. That doesn't even begin to touch the love that is divine, that is the love of God, but it's the best that we can do. It is the absolute best that we can do. And here's the most beautiful and glorious thing, that we don't have to do anything, not a single thing, in order to receive this love. We don't need to bargain with God in order to receive this love. Not like the young groom who, during his wedding rehearsal, approached his pastor and said, "I'll give you a $100 bill if you will change the words to the wedding vows and leave out all that junk about my having to love, honor, and obey." He pressed the $100 into the pastor's hand and walked away with a smile. The next day, during the wedding ceremony, the vows were being read. The pastor turned to him and said, "Now, son, do you promise to bow down before her, fulfill her every wish, and serve her breakfast in bed every morning, for as long as you both shall live?" The groom gulped in astonishment, and in a weak voice said, "Yes." And then he leaned toward the pastor, and he whispered, "I thought we had a deal." And the pastor handed the groom the $100 bill back and said, "We did, but she made me such a much better husband." God's love is not like that. It's not like that. It is freely and completely and totally showered upon us. It is ours simply by our birthright of being here, created out of His infinite love. Each one here and now has it every moment, every second of every day. It is unconditional. It's unconditional. That is love. And that is the driving force behind all life. And then we move into the second law. What is the law? Spiritual law. And again, Holmes tells us in Science of Mind, in the great universal mind, we are each a center of intelligence. And every time we think, we set the mind law into action. We are immersed in an infinite creative medium which, because of its nature, must create after the pattern of the thought that thought gives it. Jesus understood this, and in a few simple words he said, he laid down the law of life when he said, "It is done unto you as you believe." It's as simple as that. It is done unto you as you believe. The law is the way God works. It's the action part. God thinks, and so it is. And in between all of that, which there is no in between in God because it's all one, is the substance that is we use. We use it with our thinking. We use it with our emotions. It's always in operation. It is immutable, impersonal, and infinite. It's an infinite mind that will cooperate with us fully because it is neutral. So whether we are aware of our thoughts or creating through default, we're always creating. We're creative beings, always, in always. Just like the law of mathematics, always in operation. And we can cooperate with it or not. Spiritual law says that we are constantly attracting that which we make inevitable by the quality of our thoughts. That's how powerful our thoughts are, truly, absolutely. Thoughts are things. Ernest Holmes tells us that. Remember, the law will work no matter what. Ernest Holmes, in his book, Love and Law, which is a great book, tells us how to work in harmony with the law. We get a mental equivalent, which is a picture of what it is that we desire. Through practice, this is Holmes, through practice, meditation, thought, study, intelligence, concentration, inspiration, hope, faith, love, prayer, desire, and work, there is no other way. Love and law. So the question of this morning is, what if we let love point the way, knowing that the law, the spiritual law, will do what it does? Simply make it possible, because that's what the law does. We've all know about the law of attraction. It's how it works. It is done to you as you believe. Period. Period. Albert Einstein was once asked what the most important question human beings needed to answer. And he replied, "Is the universe a loving place or not?" Question that. What do you believe? Is the universe, is everything that we're talking about a loving place or not? What is your answer to that question? Whatever it is, the answer to that question will give us an overall tone for our life, because our answer sets the law in motion. So when we allow ourselves to think only thoughts of love, that's what the law is acting upon. And that love can be in forms of kindness, just in kindness, in giving, in doing things in a way that you know is right. You know it feels good. To work on a daily basis to remove the blocks to the awareness of love's presence in our life is a lifelong process. It is continuous. Sometimes we forget, and that's okay. We are human, so we forget. But get right back on that alignment, right on that line. It takes constant inner work to perceive clearly who we are and exactly what the real conditions are in our lives. Not what we make up, not what we add to it, not what our perception is. What are the real conditions in our lives? Love is what we were born with. Fear is what we learn. Hey, look at it. Love is what we are born with. Fear is what we learn. And so now we get to spend the rest of our lives unlearning fear. We must relearn love to experience love as the meaning of our lives. And think of the world, a world of love. There would be no wars, no hunger, no environmental breakdown, no oppression, no violence or prejudice. People would be working together with cooperation and peace. Wow, what a concept. Events are always in flux, constant flux. One day people love you, the next day you're their target. One day a situation is running smoothly, and the next day it is complete chaos. One day you feel on top of the world, and the next day you just feel like a failure. These are changes in life that are part of our human experiences. We did nothing wrong spiritually, so let's get rid of all that spiritual guilt that I've heard people preach upon, because that only makes everything worse, and it's not. What would love do? There is no guilt in love. Remember that. And we are having a human experience. Holmes, in Science of Mind, wrote, "We should think of God not only as a principle forever pushing into expression, but as an infinite person. In other words, we merely think of an abstract principle, a mathematical law. We shall lose all the warmth and color. We should be very careful in abstracting the principle, not to forget the essence." Because the essence is love. The essence is love. So we say the law is neutral, immutable, it doesn't have two sides, but there is a warmth, there is an intelligence, and there is a color to it. It is not as cold as sometimes when we read it could be. Teilhard de Chardin, a French monk and 19th century mystic, wrote this: "The day will come when, after harnessing the ether, the winds, the tides, and gravitation, we shall harness the energies of love. And on that day, for the second time in the history of the world, we shall have discovered fire." So, my friends, wherever you are in life, whatever end of the spectrum, continuum you find yourself on, which shifts, it's always shifting, remember to keep it simple. Let love point the way. We have to keep remembering that. I am love. The love within me is the divine love. It is sometimes covered up and sometimes not. So sometimes we feel that support, sometimes not. Where is your faith? My faith is that there is a power for good, and that power is always, always divinely guiding me, protecting me. And I believe that about every single person if we open up to it and align with it. And in this way of keeping it simple, love and law, we begin to ignite that divine spark of God within us automatically. And so it is.